Hello, people. I am up here in a couple thousand feet up in Northern California. A car driving by, that's rare. Except for the logging trucks. Uh, Up on some family property. Usually, when I come out here, I love to do a traditional Easter egg hunt. I posted one video where my wife was decorating a Christmas tree with some species we found. I'm not having a lot of luck at the moment because it's been a little dry up here, but just wanted to talk about mushrooms, one of my favorite things. I love it up here. I'm surrounded, I don't know if you can see around me, but I'm completely surrounded by beautiful pine trees. Pine trees and firs, and I think there's some oaks around here. There's a doorway in the valley of the oak trees. And Jesus, in the Gnostic Gospels, you won't find this in the King James book, he professed that the stones around the 5 trees of mystery, which are the evergreen trees, I can't remember what he said, but basically they guide you or they teach you. And of course those stones are the philosopher's stones. Sometimes there's many different species, but for thousands of years, before the alchemists invented alcohol, mushrooms were our staple herb. If you read John Allegro's book, Sacred Mushroom and the Cross, you'll see that the early tribes exonerated the mushrooms all the way back into Samaria and beyond, and all over the globe. It doesn't matter what native tribes you look into, whether it's Oaxaca in Mexico, or I don't know how to say that, Oaxaca, the native tribes in Mexico and South America. Of course, they got the vine of the ayahuasca vine there. Oh my gosh, being tangled up in some blackberry bushes. I might need to find another way around. Every culture on the planet, for the most part, until alcohol was created, we all kind of consumed sacred herbs and plants that would alter our consciousness, and of course just nourish and feed us as well. But I find mushrooms to be one of the most fascinating things. I would love to take Paul Stement up here for a day. He's a modern day shaman, in my opinion, a mycologist, a genius. The guy healed his mother of like stage 5 breast cancer with some really rare mushrooms that he found out in the old growth forests. And he's working on all kinds of really cool stuff. Maybe how to protect our crops from bugs by using fungi. He found a way to decontaminate toxic soils. He did a field test where he took 3 piles of contaminated dirt, and he had like the leading biological engineers and chemical engineers guys come out and try to, I might be getting this wrong, but they tried to clean their piles, and he basically sprinkled or infused some mycelium or sprinkled some oyster mushroom spores on there, and within a few weeks it was completely decontaminated. And of course those other piles were still just black mushes, toxic death. But under his pile, grass started growing. Once the beautiful thing, those oyster mushrooms were completely edible. You can harvest them and consume them, and they extracted all the toxins and carbons out of the soil. Sorry, I'm trying to keep my eyes open for a mushroom. So you find them at the base of these pine trees, just like as a little kid when you go, and your parents hide the Easter eggs for you. Um, this is basically, we were mimicking that act. And of course, one of the weird, disturbing things is that, we practiced urine therapy back then. And, although like the psilocybe mushrooms that contain the oxygenated DMT molecule, you can just consume those because it has a AOI inhibitor, something like that in it. But like the Amanita muscarius, which is the mushroom of humanity, and the Amanita pantherus, and a lot of the other ones that don't contain the DMT, they have ibotonic acid and muscimol, something along those lines, and those need to be processed through the liver, just like the reindeer would when they were, get a nibble on one while he was helping Santa hunt for him, and Rudolph would get that chapped nose from digging through the snow, and not necessarily get intoxicated. He'd be left out of the reindeer games, but when he urinated, the other reindeers would come up and consume that yellow snow, and it'd come out 10,000 times stronger, all that muscimol and ibotonic acid and stuff, and they'd be prancing and dashing and dancing around, you know what I mean? So Santa would try to keep those mushrooms away from the reindeer, so they wouldn't get high and go flying off. So he would decorate them in the boughs of these trees here, like and stick them up here into the boughs of these trees. You just kind of wedge them into the edge here. God, there's a lot of traffic out here today. It's not normal. We're out in the middle of nowhere. And he'd let them dry, because they did want to dry those mushrooms out so they can go through decarboxylation. This is an extraction of the coal, basically. This is why we'd hang them in the stockings and dry them out thoroughly. We don't want to run the coal in the morning. But all of this sacred mushroom use was in hopes of altering your consciousness. And they'd keep young children around and feed them a very small dose. This is where it's a little disturbing. I mean, nowadays we kind of creep out if we send our kid to go get a beer out of the fridge for us or something. But it's no wonder that urine therapy and the process of the alchemical process through the body, and people would drink the urine. It's no process that when alcohol was created through fermentation, basically the 7 steps of alchemy: fermentation and distillation and yada yada yada. They created alcohol. It's no wonder that beer looks like pee, and it's drinking warm all over Europe. But still to this day, the Catholic Church keeps altar boys around, but they were originally intended to alter the shaman's consciousness. You could feed a small dose to the child and not necessarily alter his consciousness, but and it does start to give the child a tolerance toward the poisons that are in those mushrooms, so that as he gets older, he can consume them. But it wasn't necessarily get the child high, but they would drink the children's urine. And this is why, of course, you see fountains all over the world with little boys peeing in the tops of the fountains. And I don't think this worked with little girls because of the different acidic nature and between our urine. Just like a dog has, a male dog has a different pH balance than a female. A female dog will kill the grass where a male dog won't when they urinate on it. Something about a man and woman's process that it was more likely done with a small child or the shaman himself. Kind of disturbing, but this is why you see all through the artwork all around the world with little boys peeing in fountains. Well, I'm about 10 minutes, and if I take longer than that, it takes forever to upload. I'm going to find another spot that I got, see if I can find any, and I'll take it up from there. Peace.